Hey everyone. So I'm doing this video today just to share my recent experience at a traditional wedding while I was in Rwanda. I'm put out a few videos, so this is one of the ones where I really wanted to share with you guys. So this first picture here is a picture of the groomsmen, and as you can see, it's very interesting kind of clothing they have, but I love, love, love the fabric, the design. So it's really, really nice. I mean, ultimately they're basically wearing a dress, but of course in this the way the design is, it comes off really masculine. So I much props to them, but this is, just a traditional way they go about it. So basically, how this got started is I was, planning to tour Rwanda, and it just so happened a few weeks prior to me leaving to go on the trip, my tour guide messaged me and, apologized profusely, saying, "Hey, I'm really sorry, but during our trip, one of the days, my cousin's getting married, and I can't get out of this. He wants me to be part of the ceremony." And I'm like, "No, that's cool and everything. Like, I understand, it's all right. We can just kind of plan around that, whatever. If I have a free day or do something else that day, I'm fine with that." And it's funny because he was just like, "Well, no, that's not really why I was telling you." He's like, "I told my cousin I would be working. Um, so my cousin wants you to be part of the wedding too." So this caught me really off guard because I'm like, my eyebrows is hitting my hairline. Like, what? Because not really something I was expecting. But I thought the gesture itself was just really, really nice. So, I asked him the main questions, like, okay, what am I supposed to be wearing? What's going on here? Like, does the bride knows about this? And I'm asking these questions because I don't know what a traditional Rwandan wedding ceremony is, so or how it works. So it was just very. I had a lot of questions basically. So he told me, he's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. We'll get the dresses for you, and get you taken care of." So this kind of raised my hackles a little bit because women, as you know, men don't really do any planning when it comes to weddings, let alone dress us. So I got really nervous. Like, I don't know about this. Like, can I speak to somebody, female preference, please, just to kind of get this situated and figure out what exactly is going on, or what should I be wearing, and who should I be speaking to. And they, reassured me. It's like, "No, no, no, don't worry about it. I promise it's all going to be taken care of when you get here. Just bring, I, different options of shirts and stuff, and like tank top shirts or regular shirts." And even I had tons of questions about that, and it was just like, "Oh, I'll just bring shirts." so so of course this made me really nervous. But it turned out like I had nothing to worry about. It turned out to be really like basic, and like I could pick a basic shirt. So when I got there, I was introduced to his cousins. I want to, not his cousin's cousins. I guess it's his cousins too. But a girl named Janet, which you'll see in the picture. She, invited me into her home. They was doing a lot of preparation prior to driving to the ceremony, and her home was kind of used as the base to get all the gifts and everything together from the groom's side to give to the bride's side of the family. So this kind of made a little bit more sense. They bring I guess there's a huge group of people from both sides of the family, and their role in the wedding depends obviously whether the man's going to be part of the groom side, obviously, and the women from the bride side is going to be her bridesmaids and stuff. So I was with a group of females on the groom side, so I wouldn't technically be in the ceremony, which thank God, because I just felt weird about that. I would just be, just attending there, so which was nice. It was really nice. So she invited me into her home, is just telling me she has four sisters, and I can be sister number five. So, and this was really nice and really welcoming. And she got me dressed. It turned out to be a lovely dress, lovely colors, as you see. It worked out great. And one interesting thing before the wedding, though, she encouraged me to eat a lot. And I just thought this was strange because, like in the West, we don't usually eat heavy before weddings. Like it's all about, being slim and or feeling as thin as you possibly can to be as attractive as you possibly can. So, I just thought this was strange. And they were just encouraging me, like, no, eat, you need to eat. Trust me, you want to eat as much as you can. And, come to find out, I understood why. Because it's a traditional ceremony. There's no food being served. There's alcohol, but there's no food. And it's the traditional alcohol. So this made a lot more sense. Anyways, some of the pictures that you've seen is just women with different dresses. The umushinana is the typical traditional dress, and those are different pictures of just examples of the traditional dresses. They don't only wear these as weddings; it's part of the traditional culture. For the traditional dances, they wear it. If there's any traditional based events, even at the museums, they'll wear it. Like the guides for the museums, the women will wear it. So it was just really, really nice. And some of the video I have here is the recording of some of the traditional dances at the wedding, and I didn't get a lot of the. I can't even really say it's a ceremony. For them, it's a ceremony. But what's interesting about this is at this traditional wedding, no one actually gets married. So this is really strange. Like the bride and groom sit there and they're just kind of they're not really speaking. They're not. I don't know if they're not allowed to speak or it's just they basically sit there and their family speaks on their behalf, where I guess they're negotiating the terms of the marriage and how it benefits each family. Now this is like an old tradition that they just kind of brought forward and modernized, so to speak. So this is like really half of what the true tradition is. There's about, I was told, about 7 different steps or ceremonies, so to speak, prior to the actual wedding. And so it's a lot of detail to it, and in my opinion, somewhat exhausting. But again, it's their traditional culture, so it's something that you definitely can admire. But there's a lot of steps involved. So, but the bride and groom don't actually get married. Their families kind of just, the one half of the room is the bride side of the family, the other half of the room is the groom side of the family, and they basically just kind of negotiate. There's I don't want to say a host, but one person who's kind of playing like a liaison between the families. And I was told it can get kind of funny where basically, the bride side of the family kind of makes it difficult and say, well, why are you marrying my daughter? You've done this in the past. And they could say something that's not true at all. Like they could say, like you killed my dog. And that's not true. But the whole point is, in the negotiation process, you can't call them a liar. Although they're lying, although everyone knows it's a lie, you can't call them a liar. You have to somewhat negotiate your way out of it and say, well, the dog was, I don't know, like eating my chickens or something, and I had to do something because that's my source of income or whatever. So it just gets really weird and really funny. This entire ceremony is done in Kinyarwanda, which is the native language. So I had no idea what they were saying, but either way, the performances was amazing. I have mostly the male performers here doing the traditional dance. The female ones I thought was really good, but I just could not get a good video of it. And I didn't want to be that person at the wedding who's just running around trying to record stuff, especially since no one else was doing it. So I really didn't want to stand out in that way or be rude because again, I'm a guest there. So the female one, I thought it was amazing because they had the I forgot what they call them, but the beads around the ankles and just doing their traditional dance. And so I just just took mostly the guys because the guys did dance a lot more. And some of their dances actually look familiar if you look at it. They look like a lot of what some of the frats kind of do. So But yeah, that. It was pretty cool. What other details are there? So, during the ceremony, as the negotiation process is taking place, there's big tubs of banana wine that's being passed around for each table, and everyone at the table basically drinks from that huge jug of it. And so banana wine it's actually pretty good. It kind of sneaks up on you though. Like you don't really get the hit until after you've already swallowed it. So it's weird, but when it's fresh, it's really good. So as the hours went on of bride and groom family negotiating, people are just drinking more wine towards the end as more performances happen in between to kind of break from negotiations. You'll notice that people start dancing a little bit more just because the wine's kicking in, they're feeling it, they're feeling a little bit more loose, and they really get into it. So what else? What other interesting detail is there? So yeah, so in at the traditional wedding, like I said, they don't actually get married. This is just a negotiation process between the bride and groom family. Um, I was told that Rwanda itself doesn't recognize traditional weddings as an official way of marriage, so they would have to do what is called a civil wedding shortly after, which is whether it's another day or another week or whatever, usually as soon as possible, obviously just to get the process over with. And the civil wedding is where they would basically go to like a court and stuff and get the documents completed to say that they're officially married. And then after that is the ceremonial wedding, which is, where they brought in front of the church and or however they want to do it in front of a priest and stuff, and then just, finally tie the knot, as that ceremony. Which obviously this is a lot of ceremonies. I don't know how much all of this costs, but man, when this process was explained to me, I was just like, oh my god, no, like that is just way too much. But it's what they do, and of course I have 100% respect for it because this was really entertaining nonetheless. But yeah, I was told like currently in Rwanda, like it's still very very popular to do traditional weddings, still very popular and very much promoted to maintain that tradition, which I thought was great. It's really good to maintain some of that culture and tradition because as we get older, or as the younger group grows into it, at least they would have that foundation of tradition and culture. And it's not like they're pushing it away, which I thought was really interesting and really amazing about. That was one of the things about being there. The young really embrace the old traditional ways and kind of still be young and modernized in their own way, so and have their own flavor to it and stuff. So I really really enjoy that. But yeah, here are some of the videos of the traditional dances. And what was explained to me when they do the dances, when they put in their arms up, is basically kind of supposed to represent the longhorn cow. They do value cow. Traditionally, long ago, that was their main thing. They're cattlemen and, just, I want to say shepherds, but something to that respect. But cattle was a big source of wealth. So basically, if you could represent your wealth by how much cattle you had. So typically, when a bride was getting married, her dowry would be, a cow. They would bring a cow to the family and ask for the girl's hand in marriage and whatever. So it was usually trading off the cows. But also giving a cow to another person is kind of brings a bond for life out the way it was explained to me. It's really, really, besides just being potentially being sacred, but it's really something that people take seriously and hold on to. Like if someone gives you a cow, like that's a big, big deal. So without further ado, let's let you watch some of the video.
attention.